The universe is speaking to you right now. Every coincidence you've brushed off, every number that keeps appearing, every moment that made you pause and think, this is not random. These are the coded messages of reality, personalized just for you. They are signals, not accidents. And if you learn to decode them, your life stops being a series of chance events and becomes a conscious, orchestrated journey. Close your eyes for a moment. Recall a time when something seemed too perfect to be coincidence, an encounter that answered a question before you even asked it, a string of repeated numbers, a sudden idea that solved a problem effortlessly. Most people dismiss these moments, labeling them luck or randomness. But Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, called them synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, the fingerprints of intelligence woven into your experience. Science is catching up to what mystics have known for centuries. Quantum physics shows us that observation collapses probability into reality. The observer is not separate from the field. Consciousness participates in creation. Jacobo Grinberg, a Mexican neuroscientist and mystic, proposed that human awareness acts as a tuning mechanism, filtering the infinite possibilities of the universe into the reality we perceive. Synchronicities are the universe's way of telling you, pay attention. This path matters. Yet the majority of people remain blind to these signs. Life is moving fast. Minds are distracted. Intuition is dismissed. Repeated numbers, uncanny encounters, or flashes of insight are ignored or rationalized away. Meanwhile, the universe continues speaking, even more insistently, sending pattern after pattern to the subconscious mind. You might feel these nudges in your gut, in your chest, or in a sudden knowing, subtle signals that you've ignored too long. Michael Talbot, in The Holographic Universe, suggested that reality is like a vast hologram, where every point contains the whole. If that's true, then every synchronicity you experience contains a microcosm of the greater pattern, a fragment of intelligence encoded with guidance, insight, or opportunity. You are not simply living a life of random events. You are navigating a field rich with meaning, and synchronicities are the breadcrumbs showing you the way. But why are these codes hidden from most people? Partly because society teaches linear thinking. Logic and reason are celebrated, but pattern recognition, intuition, and resonance are marginalized. Mainstream education tells you to see life as cause and effect, but synchronicity operates in the space where inner state meets outer reality. Only those who cultivate attention, stillness, and reflection can tune into the patterns. Most of us are unconscious observers, walking past coded signals every day without realizing it. Here's where it gets practical. Synchronicities are not random. They are a mirror of your consciousness. Repeated numbers may signal alignment or alert you to unseen patterns. Uncanny encounters with people may highlight lessons, opportunities, or future paths. The timing of events may seem improbable, but it is a reflection of your internal resonance. The better you understand your thoughts, emotions, and subconscious patterns, the easier it becomes to decode what reality is showing you. Let's make this tangible. Imagine you keep seeing 1111 everywhere, on clocks, receipts, license plates. Your first instinct may be to dismiss it, but if you pause, breathe, and ask, what is this pointing to in my life right now? Suddenly the code becomes meaningful. Perhaps it is nudging you toward alignment, reminding you to be present, or signaling that your intention is being noticed by the field. Every repeated number, every unexpected meeting, every intuitive flash is a personalized signature. Your emotional state is the decoder key. Synchronicities carry meaning because they resonate with your inner world. If you are anxious, fearful, or distracted, signals are muted or misread. If you are present, aligned, and coherent, they appear vividly. This is why practices like meditation, journaling, and mindful observation amplify your ability to read the hidden code. You are essentially training your nervous system to receive intelligence that is always there. Here's a subtle but profound truth. Synchronicities often emerge in the spaces you least expect, moments of waiting, uncertainty, or what feels like nothingness. That pause, that liminal space, is the universe's canvas. Here, subtle patterns appear for those willing to observe. A stranger says a phrase that resonates. A number repeats. An opportunity seems to arrive out of nowhere. These are messages hidden in plain sight, waiting for the conscious observer to decode. And it is not mystical thinking, it is participatory reality. Quantum mechanics shows us that potential exists until observed. Your consciousness collapses probability into presence. Synchronicities are not random coincidences. They are the field responding to your attention, resonance, and emotional coherence. What you notice, what you feel, and what you resonate with shapes the patterns you see. In essence, reality is communicating in a language of alignment, and you are the translator. So how do you start decoding? Begin by noticing without judgment. Keep a journal of repeated numbers, uncanny encounters, and flashes of insight. Note your emotional state when they appear. Don't force meaning. Just observe. Over time, patterns emerge, connections reveal themselves, and the previously invisible code becomes clear. You start to see life as a conversation rather than a series of random events. And here's the kicker. This is forbidden wisdom in plain sight. Mainstream culture teaches linear, mechanical thinking. It trains us to ignore subtle intelligence and dismiss inner guidance. Yet synchronicity is always there, quietly orchestrating your life. Those who notice, decode, and act on these signs step into a level of reality that feels magical, guided, and profoundly empowering. You are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are participating in a living, intelligent field. The first step is awareness. Pause when a pattern emerges. Ask, what is this pointing to? How does it connect to my inner state? Record it. Observe emotion, timing, and resonance. Slowly, the patterns become legible. You begin to notice recurring themes, mirrored lessons, and personal codes. Life stops being a random sequence and begins to feel orchestrated, not controlled by someone else, but by your own attunement and observation. Even subtle practice matters. Pay attention to your intuition. Notice repeated numbers. Reflect on seemingly coincidental encounters. These are your personalized codes, the universe's way of showing you what aligns with your consciousness and what does not. As you become fluent in this language, your ability to navigate opportunities, relationships, and insights grows exponentially. Life itself becomes a map you can read, rather than a chaotic storm you endure. And if this excites you, subscribing here ensures you'll continue decoding reality alongside a community learning to notice, interpret, and act upon these hidden patterns. Each new video expands your ability to read the messages that were invisible yesterday, but are clear today. Synchronicity is not random. It is intelligence made tangible for those willing to see it. The story doesn't end here. In part 2, we will explore why most people miss these codes, the subconscious blocks that distort perception, and the practical steps to start decoding your personal synchronicities, turning what once felt random into actionable guidance. Once you understand the hidden mechanisms, reality becomes a living, responsive field, and you are finally fluent in its secret language. Most people encounter synchronicities every day, yet they remain invisible. Why? Because the mind is trained to filter them out. From childhood, we are taught to see life linearly, cause and effect, action and result. Anything that doesn't fit this structure is labeled coincidence, luck, or imagination. Yet reality is far richer than linear thinking. Synchronicities emerge in the intersection between your inner state and the field of possibility, and if your attention is fragmented, you simply miss them. The first hidden block is subconscious misalignment. Your beliefs, often invisible even to you, shape the lens through which you perceive the world. If you believe life is random, unfair, or chaotic, the patterns are there, but your mind filters them out. This is why repeated numbers go unnoticed, uncanny encounters feel irrelevant, and flashes of insight are ignored. Carl Jung described these as shadow patterns, the unconscious parts of ourselves that distort perception. Until these are acknowledged and harmonized, the hidden code remains obscured. Fear is another major filter. The nervous system reacts to stress by prioritizing survival, not subtlety. When fear dominates, your attention narrows, and only the most obvious events break through. Synchronicities are subtle. They often appear in pauses, moments of reflection, or emotional resonance. If your mind is running in constant worry, you are tuned out of the intelligence flowing through reality. The universe keeps speaking, but you are not listening. Distraction and habit create yet another layer of blockage. Repeated patterns and meaningful coincidences are easy to miss when life is mechanical. People rush through routines, glued to screens, lost in to-do lists. The moments that could contain guidance are ignored. HeartMath research shows that coherence, the alignment of heart and brain, amplifies awareness. When the nervous system is scattered, the signals remain subtle, undetected, or misinterpreted. Alignment creates perception. Incoherence obscures it. So how do you begin decoding the hidden code? Awareness is the first key. Start observing without judgment. Notice repeated numbers, uncanny encounters, or intuitive flashes. Don't force meaning, just record. Keep a journal, and over days or weeks, patterns will emerge. These threads are the first letters in the language of the universe. They become readable when you consistently pay attention, reflect, and feel resonance. Next, explore your emotional state. Synchronicities are never purely logical. They carry emotional resonance. Did a repeated number make your heart skip? Did a chance meeting spark awe or curiosity? These emotional cues are the decoder key. Jung emphasized that meaningful coincidences resonate precisely because they reflect your inner state. The stronger the emotional alignment, the clearer the signal. Observing the emotional undertone is just as important as noticing the event itself. Another technique is contextual reflection. When a coincidence occurs, pause and ask, why now? What does this connect to in my life? Sometimes the code points to a decision, opportunity, or insight that is just out of conscious reach. Other times, it serves as confirmation that you are on the right path. The more consistently you reflect, the easier it becomes to interpret these hidden signals. Over time, the messages stop feeling random and start feeling like a personalized map of guidance. Subconscious patterns also interfere with interpretation. Old fears, doubts, or limiting beliefs can distort signals, causing you to ignore, rationalize, or misread them. Shadow work, observing and integrating these patterns, is essential. As you align subconscious beliefs with conscious intentions, the code becomes legible. The universe does not change, your perception does. By clearing internal distortion, you unlock your ability to read the messages already present. Let's make this concrete. Imagine you keep encountering the number 222. Your first reaction might be skepticism. But if you stop, breathe, and ask, what is this pointing to in my life right now? You may notice a pattern, maybe a choice you've been avoiding, a relationship dynamic that needs attention, or a decision that aligns with your higher purpose. That number is not random. It is a coded signal reflecting timing, alignment, or validation. Once you recognize it, you can act consciously rather than blindly. Observation alone is not enough. Emotional resonance amplifies the signal. Gratitude, appreciation, awe, or curiosity heightens perception. Your nervous system begins to notice subtle alignments. HeartMath studies show that coherent emotional states create measurable changes in heart rhythm variability, enhancing intuition and pattern recognition. In other words, feeling amplifies decoding. The more coherent your internal state, the easier it is to read the messages woven into reality. Another practical method is the synchronicity map. Draw columns for repeated numbers, unexpected encounters, flashes of insight, and their emotional resonance. Track timing, context, and outcomes. Over time, the map reveals a personal pattern of guidance unique to you. You start recognizing the field's intelligence in real time. The invisible becomes visible, the subtle becomes tangible, and life begins to feel orchestrated rather than chaotic. And yet, most people still miss these codes because they lack consistency. Synchronicity requires ongoing attention. A single observation is like noticing a single star in the night sky. Journaling, reflection, and emotional resonance are the telescope that reveals the constellation. Daily practice strengthens perception, tunes the nervous system, and allows the universe to communicate clearly. The more you notice, the more signals appear. The field responds to attention. Here's a subtle but critical insight. Synchronicities are most potent when you are not trying to force meaning. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. Trying to rationalize, control, or predict interrupts the signal. Pausing, observing, and feeling. This is how the code becomes legible. Life becomes less about struggle and more about alignment. As you practice, patterns that once seemed obscure or random become unmistakable confirmations of guidance and opportunity. The final piece of the decoding process is action and alignment. Observing patterns is only the first step. Acting on the guidance completes the cycle. If a repeated number or uncanny event points to a decision, relationship, or opportunity, notice it, reflect, and move with intention. Synchronicities are not passive phenomena. They are invitations to participate consciously in the unfolding intelligence of reality. Ignoring them is possible. Responding creates co-creation. And if you want to deepen your ability to read the code, subscribing ensures you'll continue to explore practical, step-by-step techniques for decoding, interpreting, and acting on synchronicity. Each new video is a guide to tuning perception, aligning internal state, and living in real-time conversation with the universe. The intelligence behind every coincidence is waiting for you. It only requires awareness, resonance, and consistent practice. In the next part, we will explore advanced decoding techniques, including pattern recognition, emotional resonance mapping, and creating a daily practice that turns synchronicities into actionable guidance. We'll also reveal how these codes can guide relationships, opportunities, and personal growth, transforming life from randomness into a responsive, co-created reality. Synchronicities are everywhere, but they are not meaningful unless you learn to decode them. This is where the journey shifts from observation to mastery. Imagine life as a secret language. Every repeated number, every uncanny encounter, every unexpected insight is a word, a sentence, or even a paragraph in the ongoing story of your consciousness. The more fluent you become, the more life itself responds to your attention, alignment, and resonance. The first step toward advanced decoding is pattern recognition. After weeks of journaling, your repeated numbers, encounters, and insights begin to form clusters. Certain sequences appear around similar life themes: career, relationships, personal growth, or opportunities. These clusters are the alphabet of your personal code. Jung emphasized that meaningful coincidences reflect unconscious patterns. Your job is to consciously map them. Notice timing, context, and emotional resonance. The more consistently you track, the more intelligible the patterns become. Emotional resonance remains the decoder key. Every synchronicity carries a frequency: excitement, awe, curiosity, intuition. The intensity of emotion reveals the significance of the signal. A minor flash of recognition may point to a small adjustment. A profound surge of awe may indicate a life-altering opportunity or insight. Your body is reading the code even before your mind can interpret it. Trust these visceral signals. They are the universe speaking directly to your nervous system. Integration requires a daily practice that aligns awareness, reflection, and intention. Begin each morning with a brief check-in. Breathe, center in the heart, and review patterns you've observed. Ask, what threads are emerging? What is life trying to show me today? By setting attention and intention in this way, you begin to prime the nervous system and field for meaningful guidance, creating a feedback loop that strengthens both perception and coherence. Synchronicities are often subtle confirmations rather than explicit instructions. A repeated number, a chance encounter, or a flash of insight does not tell you what to do directly. Instead, it signals alignment, timing, or readiness. To decode these signals, reflect on life themes they correlate with. Journaling and contemplation help reveal the hidden context. Over time, these confirmations become predictable. You start to notice which signals matter and which are noise, refining your intuition and decision-making. Advanced practitioners also track patterns of repetition over time. For example, Seeing 444 for weeks during a period of transition signals stability, while repeated encounters with a certain person may indicate guidance, reflection, or opportunity in relationships. Even fleeting coincidences, when examined over days or months, reveal a coherent map of life's orchestration. This is why consistent attention and journaling are non-negotiable. The intelligence of reality unfolds in sequences, not isolated events. Heart-brain coherence further amplifies decoding ability. When your nervous system is aligned, your perception sharpens. Heart math studies show that coherent emotional states increase heart rate variability, optimize nervous system function, and enhance intuition. By combining pattern recognition with coherent internal state, repeated numbers and uncanny encounters become readable codes rather than random anomalies. Life shifts from randomness into rhythm, from confusion into dialogue. Let's consider relationships. People in your life often carry coded lessons. Synchronicities with specific individuals, repeated meetings, uncanny timing, or mirrored emotions signal hidden dynamics or growth opportunities. Observe who resonates and who triggers dissonance. Patterns emerge when you notice the emotional impact, timing, and recurrence. The universe communicates not just through numbers or events, but through interpersonal resonance. Decoding these patterns improves connection, clarity, and alignment in relationships. Opportunities, creativity, and career paths also carry coded signals. Inspiration may arrive suddenly, a door opens unexpectedly, or a meeting happens by chance. These synchronicities are reality's way of highlighting alignment with your higher potential. Acting in coherence amplifies the signal. Your attention, intention, and emotional state reinforce the guidance, creating a magnetic field for opportunity. Life begins to respond as if it were anticipating your decisions. To integrate synchronicities into daily life, develop a practice of reflection and action. When a repeated number appears, or an uncanny coincidence occurs, pause. Ask, what does this signal point to? Journal insights and emotions. Take aligned action, however small. The combination of observation, reflection, and responsive action is how synchronicities translate from invisible signals into tangible outcomes. Over time, life begins to feel orchestrated rather than random. A subtle but powerful insight is this. Synchronicities often emerge during periods of uncertainty, waiting, or transition. These liminal spaces, the void before change, are when reality is most malleable. Pay attention during these times. Numbers repeat. Ideas arise. Encounters happen. These are invitations to align, observe, and participate consciously in the unfolding intelligence of reality. The invisible code is clearest when you are patient, present, and open. Advanced decoding also involves trusting intuitive nudges. The universe often communicates in whispers, a gut feeling, a sudden idea, a sense of rightness. Coupled with repeated patterns, these nudges become confirmation. The more you trust them, the more coherent your perception becomes. Eventually, life itself feels responsive. Decisions are clear, opportunities are obvious, and guidance arrives effortlessly. You move from passive observer to active co-creator. Identity shifts as you integrate these practices. You are no longer someone at the mercy of chance events. You become a conscious navigator of reality, fluent in the language of synchronicity. Every repeated number, uncanny encounter, or intuitive flash is not random. It is a signal you can read, interpret, and act upon. You inhabit a field of intelligence, participating in the unfolding pattern rather than reacting to it. Even subtle moments matter. Before sleep, review the day's synchronicities. Ask, what guidance appeared? What patterns repeated? How can I respond with awareness? Journaling, reflecting, and feeling gratitude solidify the internal map, creating coherence between perception and manifestation. Over time, your nervous system becomes tuned to the signals, and life begins to flow in dialogue with your awareness. And if you want to deepen your decoding abilities, subscribing connects you to a community learning to notice, interpret, and act on these hidden patterns. Each video builds your skill in recognizing, reflecting, and responding to the messages reality is constantly delivering. The universe is not silent. It only waits for observers capable of reading the code. To close, carry this principle into every moment. Every repeated number, every uncanny encounter, every flash of insight is a message designed to be decoded by your attention, emotional resonance, and reflection. Life is not random. Reality is intelligent, responsive, and orchestrated. Synchronicity is its language, and you are now learning fluency. Observe, reflect, act, and watch as life transforms from chaos into an elegant, guided conversation with the universe.